Welcome to Dark Dreams.
The Children of Angels, written and performed by Killion Slade. Kalalea sirened her banshee's wail as she washed the child's bloody garments on the river's rocky edge. As she beat the crimson stains from the clothing, she recalled the words from the Christian Bible. It reminded her why Vaya, her dear one, worked slavishly hard to get out of her Nephilim purgatory.
God did not spare the angels who sinned, but threw them into hell and locked them in chains in utter darkness, to be kept until the day of judgment, especially for those angels who indulged in their fleshly desires and who despised authority. Peter 2:4 through 2:10.
In order to do God's chosen bidding, Vaya needed to provide the Egyptian goddess Ma'at a suitable soul in the next Passover harvest. Every year, on the 14th day of the sacred month of Nisan, Vaya culled her child offering for the Passover. Kalalea, Vaya's banshee attendant, would wail the announcement of the incoming soul descending deep into Tartarus as she continued to beat the child's clothes upon the steaming rocks. They waited until the goddess came to weigh and judge the heart of the child Vaya had brought her. Unfortunately, most of Vaya's offerings did not please the goddess, and Vaya would have to watch as her child offering was fed to the demon Amit to devour. If Vaya did not bring Ma'at the chosen one soon, it would be Vaya's heart next in line for the demon to consume. Vaya dreamed of the day she would be free of her hell, her unfair imprisonment from her parents' wrongdoings. She and her brother Bannock were among the innocents, the forsaken children of angels and men. After leaving Ma'at's presence, Vaya joined Kalalea on the banks of the river. Vaya spoke softly to Kalalea. "Oh, it has been my job to find Bannock, to release him from the hell of his physical life form. He's been trapped, damned, all these lifetimes in a human body. I truly feel as if I have failed him. It is essential I find him and return him to the angelic realm. Kalalea, I must take his place in the physical to perform my own calling as God has asked me to do. For if I don't, I am demon fodder." Kalalea looked at Vaya with kind eyes and whispered,
"I'm not supposed to offer you any assistance, Vaya, but I know how your heart aches for both of your freedoms. Look to the warm waters and the white sands of the Gulf Coast. You will find him there."
Vaya's eyes widened in excitement. Her eyes glowed in the familiar blood. The air around Kalalea grew thick. She heaved a heavy sigh as Vaya disappeared into a cloud of mist. She would miss Vaya once she found the angel's son. Not every banshee had the opportunity to know her Nephilim, but Kalalea had grown fond of hers. Once again, the wheel of the year turned, and the 14th day of Nisan finally arrived. Kalalea joined Vaya to glean a candidate for the Nephilim's offerings to the goddesses. Vaya could taste her brother's lineage in the children she scoured along the banks of the Gulf. She webbed the children into her mist of future knowings to determine if the soul inside of them was Bannock. Families filled the Clearwater beach with sunburnt children splashing in the warm Gulf waters. Bright red, white, and blue cabanas stretched out on the alabaster sands as far as Vaya could see. The day was clear, not a cloud in the sky, splendid for barbecues, volleyball, and finding the perfect Passover candidate, her brother. The seagulls flew overhead, energized by Vaya's presence. Knowing she could command the wind at her leisure, the gulls looked forward to the ride. Vaya reached out with her tendrils of mist over the beach, tasting the delicacies of each child. Out towards Pier 60, she spotted a young ginger-headed boy playing in the sand. Immediately, the vortex of energy changed above Vaya's head in the sky, pulling in a black funnel cloud. Kalalea sucked in a breath as she realized Vaya had laser-targeted her choice. Had she found Bannock? She knew it wouldn't be long until the silo formed out over the water, because huge sails of clouds flapped in the wind, waving their sheets out to dry as salty mist sprayed up out of the water, coating the coconut oil-slathered beachgoers. Acidic aromas from the long-forgotten watered in Vaya's mouth, pulling her in closer. She could taste herself in the little boy. Lightning scorched the sky, announcing Vaya's intent to the gods. The boy's mother looked at her son, put the book away, paid no heed to the change in weather, put in her earbuds, and turned over onto her stomach for a quiet, relaxing afternoon snoozer. The boy also sat oblivious to the weather himself. With sand caked in his black dragon bathing suit, he built a sandcastle for the mighty water dragons to destroy as he rescued the princess. Using his plastic garden rake and pail, he scraped out a moat and layered seaweed around the turrets. He pooled water into the moat and bunched the seaweed to create a floating bridge. Plastic toy dragons covered the tops of arches and battlements. He used the tongs of the rake to score lines into the castle walls, and then spiked it into the ground, heralding the castle's crest colors of green and white. Within a blink of an eye, Vaya engulfed the beach in a thick, milky fog. Mothers hollered out for their precious babes to come back to them. Children cried out for their parents in confusion, while dads anxiously tried to become all their heroes. Vaya opened her mouth as tendrils uncoiled and slithered across the sand toward the oblivious child. She gripped the boy in her tongues of mist and curled them up through every orifice of his body, paralyzing him. In his DNA, it revealed he was indeed her brother. At Vaya's ecstasy in finding him, she launched the water cyclone. Fish, crabs, stingrays, seaweed, and saltwater flew up into the sky, swirled into the silo, and rained sea creatures, pummeling the families below. It provided the distraction and privacy required that Vaya needed for the exchange. A cacophony of screams shot out through the mist. The boy's mother sat up in her cabana, yanked out her earbuds, and called out for her son. She was blind to see him a mere 5 feet away from her. The veil of fog so thick, her hand disappeared once past her elbow. Vaya wrapped her brother in a cone of silence. Time stopped for them both. Bannock turned towards her slithering tendrils. Vaya relaxed her paralytic grip. He grabbed the green garden rake and held it up to defend himself. She sighed into him, sending him mental thoughts of their release. "Oh, it's been a long time, Bannock. I'm so sorry it took me such a long time to find you." His silvery blue eyes widened, pupils dilated, heart pounding, but not in fear, but finally in recognition, in joy. He lowered his rake and embraced his sister. She wrapped her tongue inside his mind and pulled out tasty droplets of his future. She liked what she saw. Bannock curled up into his sister's arms and asked,
"What took you so long to find me, sister?"
More Nephilim arrived at the beach to hunt, to harvest. Cries from frightened children sent shivers up Kalalea's back. She sensed more banshees around her as well. Children on the beach fled from the death which hunted them. The humans encapsulated in a shroud of terror which fed the voracious appetites of the Nephilim caused maniacal laughter haunting the air as the incoming angel spawn celebrated in their feast. Bannock's human mother frantically tried to find him in the mist, screaming out his name, holding her arms out in front of him, not being able to see. The wind whipped about her as she tripped over ice chests and towels. Palm fronds sliced through the air and into her bare arms and across her face. She fell, face first, into the bodies of children lying on the ground with dead, blank expressions. She could hear the horrific cries of parents searching for them, but they were too late. Vaya's smile reached her eyes.
It's not such an easy task to find you, my brother. Soon you will be free, and you will understand.
Banshee sirens other than Kalilea's echoed inside the pregnant fog. Crimson waves slapped against the shore, permanently staining the white ocean sands. Vaya bent down and sliced into her brother's forehead. A thick scarlet rivulet flowed down his face. She licked at the blood, tasted herself in the sweet, coppery pedigree, and was pleased with his purity. She smeared the blood across his forehead to signify his Passover. She kissed his forehead as she sucked his soul out through her tendrils. The little body seized in convulsions as her own soul walked out over the bridge of her breath. And within a flash, Vaya now possessed the human body, and Bannock was free. Kalilea wailed as she watched Vaya disappear into the young boy's body. She cried out, but Bannock was now free to return to the angelic realm. Vaya had completed her mission. The demon Amit would not feast upon their hearts tonight. For this she was thankful. As Kalilea sang the mournful lullaby, her song drifted out beyond the fog. She wept not only for Bannock's soul, but for her own personal loss. For she was never able to tell Vaya how her human mother's sentence to the lake of fire was as Banshee. Her punishment from God was to witness her Nephilim children destroy the lives of other children for all eternity and wail at their deaths. Kalilea would never get to hold her son Bannock again in her arms, nor would she ever get to tell her daughter Vaya just how much she loved her. Vaya was finally free to fulfill her true mission, the true coming. The Lord God proclaimed it was her task and her task alone to fulfill. Bannock's human mother found her little boy and cradled him in her arms. Crying, she wiped away the bloody smear on his forehead, never knowing that what she held now was the true embodiment of the Antichrist.
Little children, it is the last time, and as ye have heard, the Antichrist shall come. John 2:18.
This has been an audio podcast recording of The Children of Angels, written and performed by Killion Slade. If you liked this recording, please share it with your friends and encourage their vote as well. To listen and read more from Killion Slade, please go to KillionSlade.com, KILLIONSLADE.com. Thank you, and we hope you've enjoyed this audio recording.
The thread of life is getting extremely thin, my dear sisters. Humanity's tapestry is once again becoming threadbare. If we do not find a way to help them soon, I'm afraid they may all die. We will have to descend down into the underworld once again until humanity has regained their balance.
Verdandi, no. I don't want to go to the underworld again. It stinks there. We must weave their fate stronger. They must survive. Can you whisper to the humans of their fate? If I am to go into the underworld, they are to come with me.
There are powerful female humans down there who interlace the future of many. I have seen it cut in their poles of destiny. Many humans deserve to have their threads cut off. Perhaps another purge is what they need in order to come together once again.
My sisters, word. The past has proven itself. Humans will continue to find ways to destroy themselves. I have seen it in the present. Many humans are trying to protect one another, but power, greed, and hate consumes them. It is ruining our beautiful tapestry. I also do not particularly care for the smell of the underworld.
Then what do you suggest, Verdandi?
What is one of the things which unites humans the most? A great disaster.
Yes, this is truth that you speak. Humans always come to the aid of others. When a catastrophe strikes, they send aid from all over the world to help one another. That is exactly what we need.
But would that be enough to save them? And keep us from descent into the underworld?
An excellent question, my sweet little sister. I believe the three of us together could create incredible apocalyptic situations for our female humans. For it is within the power to survive and to continue.